Hey guys, welcome back. Today I'd like to talk about Giada Font of Hope, one of the most popular commanders out there and currently my only monocolored deck. This is a fairly typical Angel Kindred build. You'll see a lot of the usual top tier angels and support cards here. The spin I've tried to put on it is an equipment package to supplement their power. Angels with magic swords, pretty cool. That's what we're going for here. There are two game changers and it's pretty slow and battle cruiser E, so I estimate this to be a solid bracket 3. I suppose you could take this to bracket 4 by dropping all but the best angels and equipment and transforming it into a mono white stacks deck, but you lose the angel identity and might as well choose a different commander at that point. Let's inspect the Legion. There are 4 non-angel creatures. Let's check those out first. First up we have Esper Sentinel. It's off theme, but the card draw is too good to pass up. Next there's Speaker of the Heavens, a 1-drop with Vigilance and Lifelink that can pump out 4/4 angels later on. Cloud Midgar Mercenary is a powerful equipment tutor and wielder. If Cloud is in your opener, go for Sword of the Animist or Sword of Hearth and Home. This will ramp super fast thanks to double triggers and catapult you into your late game threats, and Hearth and Home can also blink Cloud, allowing us to search up the rest of our powerful equipment. Definitely one of the best creatures in the deck. And the last non-angel creature is Starnheim Aspirant, which reduces the casting cost of angel spells by 2, a very powerful accelerator. Now let's get to the angels. Segovian Angel is a solid 1-drop at any point in the game thanks to Giada's ability to scale it up. Youthful Valkyrie is a 2-drop that scales well thanks to its own ability in addition to Giada's. The base toughness of 3 is very good. Angel of Vitality is a 4/4 flyer for 3 mana most of the time and boosts the many life gain effects in the deck on top of that. Really good value. It's a meme card, but it's actually pretty good. Holy Cow flashes in, gains 2 life, and scries. If Giada and a number of angels are already in play, this can be a deadly surprise blocker. Inspiring Overseer is another great 3-drop. It scales well with Giada and gains a life and draws a card on ETB. Metropolis Reformer has an excellent set of abilities that make it potent on offense and defense. Next up we have Resplendent Angel, which has the potential to create multiple 4/4 angels with flying and vigilance per turn cycle. The pump ability is rarely used. We usually gain the required life to create the tokens through other means. Speaking of gaining life through other means, Righteous Valkyrie is an excellent way to do so. Meeting the requirement for that powerful Anthem effect is relatively easy. This is a strong 3-drop and probably one of the best cards in the deck. Angel of Jubilation gives the team a small buff and stops a surprising number of shenanigans. Aristocrats get slowed down, some popular spells can't be cast or are hindered, and a bunch of activated abilities get turned off too. This hits more than you might think and can unexpectedly ruin someone's day. Archangel of Tithes gives us a small tax effect that complicates combat for opponents and has good base stats for its cost. Battle Angels of Tyr is an awesome 4-drop that generates a lot of value through Myriad and the way its combat damage trigger is worded. The Myriad tokens get buffed by Giada too. Always happy to see this guy. Exemplar of Light is a newcomer from Foundations. We gain life regularly in this deck, so the ability is easy to trigger. It scales up and draws cards pretty consistently. Firemane Commando is another excellent 4-drop. It draws cards when we attack with 2 or more creatures and encourages our opponents to send their attacks elsewhere. Gisela the Broken Blade is really solid on her own with those keywords and a 4/3 body, but there's also the potential to meld with Bruna the Fading Light and create the terrifying Brisella Voice of Nightmares. It doesn't happen often, but we gotta try, right? Archangel of Thune has good stats and keywords and massively buffs the team over time. One of the more powerful angels in the deck for sure. Baneslayer Angel is a classic. She's still solid even today with those keywords and 5/5 body at the reasonable cost of 5 mana. Exalted Sunborn is a newcomer from Edge of Eternities. Relevant keywords, a 4/5 body, and a token doubling effect. Amazing! Herald of War scales up over time and combines nicely with Giada's ability, greatly reducing the casting cost of all of our angel spells. Karmic Guide can reanimate something cool or important and act as a solid defender for a turn cycle. We don't usually pay the echo cost, but if there are enough +1/+1 counters on it from Giada, and or if an opponent is playing black, we might. Something to think about. Lyra Dawnbringer has great stats, keywords, and a powerful anthem effect for the very reasonable cost of 5 mana. Crazy good value. Angelic Skirmisher grants one of several powerful keywords to all of our creatures each combat. What you choose will depend on the situation, but choosing Vigilance for your combat, then choosing First Strike or Lifelink on your opponent's combats creates a powerful offense and defense. Steel Seraph has good modality. It's usually good to cast it for the prototype cost, since Giada will buff it up. Giving one of those keywords to one of our creatures at the beginning of combat is quite powerful. I often choose Lifelink, but Vigilance is great in many cases too. Valkyrie Harbinger has good stats and keywords. Note that the triggered ability happens at each end step. This has the potential to generate a lot of tokens throughout the game. Achroma Vision of Ixidor has great stats and keywords for the cost. Note that the triggered ability happens at each combat. The team will be buffed on both offense and defense. Very powerful. Bruna the Fading Light has decent stats and keywords for the cost and reanimates something on ETB. And as mentioned earlier, there's the potential to meld with Gisela the Broken Blade to create Brisela Voice of Nightmares. Emeria Shepherd has a powerful landfall ability that returns permanent cards directly to the battlefield, assuming the land is a plains, which it usually will be. Well worth the price tag of 7 mana. Sarah's Emissary is an exceptionally powerful 7-drop. That protection ability is incredible. In most cases I choose creature so I can attack, not be blocked, and not have to worry about crackback, assuming she doesn't get removed. There are situations where choosing other card types can be just as powerful or disruptive too. And at the very top end we have Avacyn Angel of Hope, another classic. There's more exile removal than there used to be, but she's still a powerful must-answer threat. There are 4 sorceries. Steel Shaper's Gift is a powerful equipment tutor. What we tutor for depends on the situation, but there are lots of options that we'll see in a bit. Cut a Deal is a decent burst of card draw for mono-white decks like this one. Secret Rendezvous is similar, but has more political potential. It's possible to use this to great effect. And the last sorcery is Farewell, a powerful reset button that's sure to cause plenty of tears. We have 6 instants. There's Swords to Plowshares and Generous Gift for some flexible removal. There's They Shall Know No Fear, Teferi's Protection and Flawless Maneuver for efficient, powerful protection. And then there's Achroma's Will, which can be a protection spell or a powerful finisher. It's flexible. Now we get to the artifacts. There are 18 of them, half of which are equipment. We have Soul Ring, Arcane Signet, and Mind Stone for mana rocks. Mind Stone has the added benefit of being able to draw a card, though the need doesn't come up often. There's Pearl Medallion, Archaeomancer's Map, Oketra's Monument, Herald's Horn, and Urza's Incubator for additional types of acceleration. Herald's Horn also potentially nabs extra cards for us, and Oketra's Monument creates extra bodies. Vanquisher's Banner gives us a small anthem effect and draws cards as we cast our angels. And now the equipment. Commander's Plate is an excellent equipment for any monocolor commander deck. Giada becomes quite deadly with this and has been known to knock people out via commander damage. If the mana is available, it's powerful on all the other angels too, of course. Lightning Greaves is a commander classic. It's fallen out of favor slightly in recent years, but it makes sense in this deck to provide protection and haste for these expensive angels we're casting. Sword of the Animist comes down early and ramps faster than you might think. It gives a small power boost as an added bonus, arguably one of the best cards in the deck. Caduceus, Staff of Hermes, gives lifelink, a large power boost, and damage prevention to the equipped creature for a relatively low cost, assuming you have 30 plus life, which is relatively easy to maintain in this deck. Very powerful. And finally, we have 5 swords of X and Y that form a solid toolbox of protection and effects. Sword of Feast and Famine grants pro green and black, untaps all of our lands, and makes the defending player discard if the attack lands. Arguably the most powerful of the swords. The protections are super relevant and the untap is massive. Sword of Fire and Ice grants pro red and blue and deals 2 damage to any target and draws a card if the attack hits. As commanders and other creatures have become lower to the ground over the years, the 2 damage has become more and more relevant. Sword of Hearth and Home grants pro green and white and blinks a creature and ramps if the attack lands. The blink is great because it allows us to scale up an angel we played earlier in the game, assuming Giada is in play. And of course we get to reuse ETBs. Sword of Light and Shadow grants pro white and black and gains 3 life and brings a creature from the graveyard to our hand if the attack hits. Both effects benefit the deck a lot. And finally there's Sword of Truth and Justice, which grants pro white and blue and puts a +1/+1 counter on a creature and proliferates on hit. Since most of our angels will have +1/+1 counters on them already from Giada, the proliferate is extremely powerful. There are only 2 enchantments. Luminarch Ascension comes online quickly most of the time and allows us to pump out ridiculous numbers of 4/4 angels. With Giada in play, this gets out of hand super fast. And the other enchantment is Angelic Accord, which can create a 4/4 angel at each end step. We have a lot of lifelink and other life gain, so this will go off pretty consistently. And now the lands. There are 12 with some extra utility. Abandoned Air Temple is a newcomer from Avatar that can buff the team and almost always enters untapped. Ancient Tomb helps power out our expensive angels. Bonder's Enclave and War Room draw cards. Nykthos Shrine to Nyx and 3 Tree City potentially generate tons of extra mana. Cavern of Souls can make our angels uncounterable. Emeria the Sky Ruin potentially becomes a powerful reanimation effect. Windbrisk Heights potentially allows us to cheat something into play. There's also the potential to do interesting things by breaking timing restrictions. Demolition Field allows us to hit problematic lands without setting us back too much. Seraph Sanctuary gains small amounts of life, and Secluded Steppe is a tapped land that can be cycled away if needed. And then there's 25 basic planes. Something cool I did for this deck is acquire 1 each of the Old Border foil planes, the OG Old Border plus the modern ones. It looks awesome. Now I'm on a mission to get the rest of the Old Border foil basics and build monocolor decks using those too. As usual, let's briefly look at the stats. Here's the category breakdown. Take a look at the deck list in the description and enable tags to see how I categorized everything in more detail. Being a monocolor deck, there's not much to say about the mana distribution. There are more utility lands than usual, but even most of those add white mana. Angels are traditionally known for having high mana costs, but the mana curve here looks reasonable. Wizards has printed some decent low-cost angels in recent years, and I've limited the top end to the creme de la creme and filled out the middle with equipment and support. It's worked out pretty well. Now let's talk about how this works. It's quite simple really, a Stompy Timmy approach with some fancy tools. It's a great deck to lend to new and learning players thanks to being monocolor, creature combat focused, and showing other aspects of the game in a straightforward way. The commander format isn't the best way to teach and learn the game, but I've done it with this deck a couple times and it was effective. Playing Giada on turn 2, then curving out with angels is simple and effective. If one of those angels draws cards like Battle Angels of Tyr or Exemplar of Light, you'll be able to build a powerful position quite fast. You'll start drawing attention with even just a couple angels out, so don't overextend and expect removal to be pointed your way. Board wipes are coming too, of course. Sandbag some stuff so you can rebuild, and or keep mana open for T-Pro and friends. Then attack as often as possible. Easy. Slap some swords down to protect the team and help them slip past blockers. If you're lucky, you might draw into a Chroma's Will for a big splashy finish. A fun combination you can look out for is Luminarch Ascension, Righteous Valkyrie, and Valkyrie Harbinger or Angelic Accord. You'll have a massive army of angels in no time and gain tons of life. Add an Exemplar of Light and you'll draw 3 extra cards each turn cycle. Add Archangel of Thune and your angels will become terrifyingly huge. There are a lot of synergies to be had. That's all I got for this one. It's a simple, straightforward deck that's a blast to play and isn't too powerful or oppressive. It can hang at a lot of different tables. Some cards that have been on the considering list for a long time are Mana Tithe, Lapse of Certainty, and Reprieve. As you may know from my other deck techs, I love gotcha moments, and these white counterspells are peak gotcha. Also looking to acquire a Buster Sword at some point too. That ability would be very powerful here. New powerful angels are being printed all the time, so the deck receives updates and upgrades pretty regularly. Be sure to check the deck list for updates now and then. Thanks for hanging out, and I'll see you in the next one.